There's talks of inflation and recession all the time right now. I am not extremely worried. We don't sell a super expensive product in a time where people are having to cut out the expensive products in their life. To be able to come to us and get a luxury item for $2.76 after tax, pretty cool.
Good morning or afternoon or evening or, hey, you know what? Good night. Get some rest.
Good night, nurse.
Good night, nurse. Welcome to Coffee Sometimes podcast brought to you by us. We have an amazing, let me say that again. We have an amazing show for you today.
Did I stutter?
What the heck?
Hey,
Whoa.
can I interject and then you can continue? Last week was our biggest week of Coffee Sometimes ever across all episodes. Not the most recent episode specifically, but if you take all episodes into account,
Cumulatively, which we
got
did,
the most listens we ever have.
number by number.
That's awesome.
So something's going right. I think you guys are sharing.
Wow.
You guys are finally doing. Wow. I'm
getting choked up.
I'm getting choked up. No! You're finally doing what we're asking you to do: commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing
Sharing.
with your friends on your favorite social media platform.
What do we have going on today, Ethan?
Today, we're going to be tasting some amazing coffee that Ross procured.
He sourced it.
He sourced it from local coffee shop Meadowlark. It's coming all the way from Italy, right?
Heard of it?
Roasted in Italy, grown in Colombia. So we're going to be drinking some of that, talking about it a little more.
Been all across the world.
Ross always forgets the funnel for his Stag XF. So I'm just watching him dry.
Delicately.
You're doing great. We're going to get into our coffee shop's recession proof. We're no economists,
yeah.
We're no economists. We're no eco-meco-nonymous. But we're going to dig into our experiences the last 7 years in coffee, looking ahead and talking about, is this a sustainable recession-proof industry?
And when we might go out of business.
Yeah. We might just let you in on that. But that's what we got going on today. Just a reminder, stop what you're doing, rate, review, open up a window, screaming out of your car that you're listening to Coffee Sometimes. That's probably the best form of marketing.
The old-fashioned way.
The old-fashioned, like, I'm listening to an amazing podcast right now. It's called Coffee Sometimes.
How about this? If you send us a video of you driving down the road on a street in a city, stopped at a stoplight, rolling down the windows, yelling at someone on the sidewalk that you are listening, we'll send you a free bag of coffee.
Yep.
You heard it here first. All right? That's real.
We are not liable for any damages that might occur, just to be clear.
We are liable for getting you a free bag of coffee if you do it, though.
Where should they send that, Riley?
Where should they send that? They should send that to our Instagram.
Coffee Sometimes?
Yeah, Coffee Sometimes Pod. Yeah.
Hey, before we get into, you're going to be brewing this coffee. What have you guys been enjoying lately, huh? Let me say something real quick about that. Hard Knocks comes out tonight, and I'm really excited about it.
Let's go!
Comes out at 10, though.
PM?
Yeah.
Come
So
on.
we'll be catching it tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Unless you're crazy.
Dude, I got Frisbee in the morning. Now, I'm not going to stay up for that.
Yeah, that's rough.
But my friend said he would give me his HBO Max. Well, now it's just Max.
Yeah.
His Max login. So I was a little worried about it. Anything you guys are enjoying lately?
You're just enjoying the excitement of Hard Knocks coming out?
Yeah, man.
That's fun.
I've been thinking about it kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Rent free?
Pretty much rent-free.
No printer?
No printers.
Whoa. Ross, how about you?
You know what? The first thing that came to my mind was the last, I think, month and a half, my family has just been way too busy.
Uh-oh.
There was sickness in the house. There's just been stuff every night, and it's all been good things except for the sickness. But things are starting to slow down, and the schedule during the nighttime is starting to look more and more clear. And I don't know about you guys, but that really, really brings me a lot of joy.
A calm night?
Yeah, but also looking forward and being I don't really have much going on this week.
Oh, yes.
After just feeling like my life is running me instead of me running my life.
Totally.
Like just looking at my schedule, I'll just be like, oh, another thing. So, hey, welcome to my camera, Riley. That's what I'm enjoying lately.
Dude,
I'm pretty excited.
Big hurt on that. Big hurt on that. Family time is precious.
Oh, it is.
So it's not like I have nothing to do. It's like, oh, I get to be home and be present, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not just sitting at home playing video games. Like, who would ever do that? It's like I'm, at home with the fam.
Totally.
That's so sick, dude.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it's disgusting. Raleigh?
What have I been enjoying lately? I mean, I'm going to go with a different, more selfish answer. I got a new watch band.
Wow.
I noticed.
Been a big quality of life improvement.
How so?
My old watch band was ripping, and it was also really old. So, like, any amount of, like, matte sheen was off. So it would just, like, slide around and feel slimy.
Slimy watch.
And
No,
especially
thank you.
when I would be active.
Oh.
Pumping iron?
And so this one has a lot more perforations. And when I sweat or get water trapped under it, it quickly wicks it away. It's from Nomad, one of my favorite brands.
Affiliate link in bio.
I have another way we get small talk.
Oh.
You ready?
Yes.
Riley, what do you do to be active?
Oh, Lord.
Here we go.
What?
If you wanna skip ahead, feel free on this one.
Being active is a great part of everyone's
No,
life.
That's
you know
true.
what? If you're
That's true.
listening, just skip ahead. We're gonna talk anyways. Just
Gosh.
go ahead.
Nah, this will be fun. I usually go to the gym 3 times a week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And I do upper body Wednesday, lower body Thursday, full body Sunday. And other than that, I need to be more active in the rest of the areas of my life. Myself and my siblings and all of our spouses will play pickleball sometimes on Thursday nights. So that one's fun, especially like usually we play, and then whenever we get ready, myself and my brother-in-law will play one-on-one pickleball, which is a trip.
Oh yeah.
It is. It's rough, and so I feel like I really burn some cows there.
Moo.
And then on the weekends, Michaela and I will like walk to the road and then like over to my sister's house and then like back to our house 1 to 2 times, usually 1. And that is pretty
Hill game is strong over there.
exhausting.
2 big hills.
Yeah. But hey, I rode a dirt bike the last week.
That's not being active.
Actually,
Speak for yourself.
Actually, MX sports are one of the most intensive on your body, Ross.
Can you expand my mind?
Yeah.
I need help.
The way I was riding it was not taxing on my body at all. But
I was thinking about that with like NASCAR drivers too. Isn't it like it's pretty demanding physically?
yeah, and it's like I was tuning into a race a couple weeks ago, and
As one does.
they said that the internal temperature of the car, like what they were sitting in all day long, was 135 degrees
Ooh.
in those suits.
Jeez.
What's a sauna like?
It's like 170, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You're kidding.
Definitely not quite 200, but yeah,
That's
they're pretty
crazy. I didn't even know you could do that.
You can.
Wow.
What about you,
The
Ethan?
limits of the human body. I'm impressed. I don't know if anybody knows this on the program, but I've been playing ultimate frisbee the last couple of years, and it's been a delight. I did sprain my ankle a few weeks ago, but I just have been pushing through, further up and further in, and it's been awesome. Do that twice a week, and then, dude, the walks are real, man. You know, you got a stroller too. Where we live in Roswell, there's a lot of big hills, and probably 2 to 3 times a week we're taking a big walk. You know, a few miles, pushing that thing. It's good.
Oh, yeah.
It's good. It's
What
really
kind of
fun.
stroller are you rocking?
I don't know. It was just actually a free gift from a frisbee guy. He was just offloading his old stroller like car seat combo. So sweet because those things can be a pretty penny.
Absolutely.
So I don't know the brand or anything about it, but it
Just
works.
let us know.
Yeah, it'll be in the show notes with an affiliate link. But I used to, when you guys remember a friend of the program, Elijah, when he lived at our house, we would do like early morning runs and calisthenics, but that ship has sailed. I just like to work out with a buddy. I'm a social exerciser. So figuring out if I want to plug that in, maybe another extra day or two. But I know these guys are trying to get me to go to the gym, but
It's funny because Ross and I never go to the gym together.
That's true.
I would only go with like someone else.
Yeah.
So I'm speaking for myself. Well, I guess you always work out further away.
Not
Is that-
true.
then
I
that-
work out at Crabapple
that's great.
once a week. I'm not going to say when because I'm sure that a flock of people from
Oh,
this program
geez,
would
yeah.
show up at the gym, you know.
Also, my dear friend Matthew also works out in Crabapple
You're kidding.
3 to 4 times a week.
What?
Really?
I know. Yes.
Man,
I don't believe
that
him.
sounds so fun.
Yeah. Hey, how about yourself, buddy? How do you stay active?
I work out 3 times a week in the gym. I do a full body workout. I just rotate between 2 different ones, and I've been doing that since I started working out.
And the results speak for themselves.
I mean, I don't know about that, but and then I also do some cardio. I try to make it out to Frisbee. I'm not going to say I'm regular, but I'm starting to.
As of late,
I'm trying to go 3 in a row. I always find myself, or just lately, been finding myself doing some sort of competitive sort of activity, getting active, which is the most fun thing ever. My least favorite cardio that I do is the stair climber thing. And I've got some, internal goals and like metrics that I try to beat myself on, which is like, I try to make it fun, but it's just really not. I don't like it.
How long do you do stairs?
I do 15 minutes, but I try to do it like on a certain resistance. But that's my last resort. Like if I haven't done any other cardio the whole week, I'll do that, and I will begrudgingly do so. But it always kicks my tail, and it's been great to be active. But what do you say we dive into this book, boys? Unreasonable Hospitality.
Well, we haven't talked about the coffee a single bit.
well,
Oh my gosh!
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
Hold your horses.
I will hold them.
Who's taking a sip?
I have. It's a bit hot.
Maybe we could all take a collective sip into the microphone.
Maybe I could just say
After the sip.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Seems like you're trying to take over
Jeez,
Ethan's
man.
show.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. Lots of flavor.
I'm thinking about someone like driving down the road on their way to vacation, listening to
Do you think that frequency went into their subs?
3 dudes,
Hey, if you're going on vacation right now
and you have a sub.
and you got a sub, hit us up. Let us know where you're going. We just want to celebrate you.
And then while you're there, subscribe.
Hit the sub.
Oh my gosh.
Or have your passenger, if you have a passenger with you, have them do that on your phone because that's dangerous.
Yes.
Yeah, unless they're a minor.
We're not liable.
Anyways, this coffee, there's a few interesting things about it. I was in, I think we already said this. I can't even remember at this point. But I was in Meadowlark Coffee.
It was so
Shout
long
out
ago.
to all you people at Meadowlark. We love you.
Yep. They're going to be carrying Valor again very soon. But JP had a whole line of these off pink, white, and fuchsia. Would you call it a fuchsia?
I'll entertain that.
A fuchsia looking bag. What is it? Is that a swan?
It's got to be.
I'm bored.
And I said, JP, what's that? I've never seen that before. And he said, well, was roasted in Italy by a 3-time world coffee roasting competition champion.
Wow.
Named Rubens Gardelli. And he was telling me about the process of what it's like to order coffee from them. And he was telling me about the brand and about this guy and the coffee. And I was like, man, this is so different than us in so many ways. And I just thought it was interesting. And all the ways that it's different, none of them are like right or wrong. Obviously, we're doing what we're doing and we want to do what we're doing.
Thank you.
But this is the dude's last name is the name of the company.
Do you have to like ask to buy the coffee or something?
Oh yeah, yeah. And if you don't like type in the order in like perfectly, then it's like, no, you didn't type it in perfectly. Like here's how you should do it. And I'm like, hey, respect. Honestly, like if you have a certain level of coffee and the quality speaks for itself, and you've got all these professional parts of your business, then sure, do that. We're way more on the like, we want it to be an intuitive customer experience, and I don't think we'll ever change that. But this is another way it's different. Is it says personally roasted by Rubens Gardelli, which is just like, I feel like that's also not us. And again, I'm not saying that's wrong, but we're way more of like Valor is a brand, and yes, we want to highlight the individual people that make it happen. But this is like all about this, this guy behind the roaster. He's a world champion. Mm-hmm. He's putting his magic touch on it that nobody else can do. Mm-hmm. And there's something romantic about that. They also their hashtag is acidity is not a crime, which is clever and funny. And I know that's probably something we talked about on the program before, but a lot of people, when they drink coffee, they're like, I just don't like acidic coffees. And
they're like, shut up.
Yeah, they're like, you're wrong. You do like them.
You do now.
You will like them. Which maybe that's true. Maybe they would like higher acidity coffees if Rubens Gardelli roasted them, or Valor Coffee roasted them.
Because maybe they're not underdeveloped.
Yeah, this doesn't taste underdeveloped to me, personally. It'd be nice to cup this later, but
I just think it tastes like
how's the inner bean development?
Pretty perfumey, and
I definitely get perfumey.
That's not necessarily my cup of coffee. But
right.
I see the merit.
It's coffee from Colombia.
None the wiser.
It's a Pink Bourbon special process lot. It is the competition series, which I guess means maybe he entered a competition with this coffee, maybe?
Or competitors use coffee?
What?
I was wrong. I had a thought that like people that compete in tournaments might use that coffee or something, but it was a stupid idea.
Did anything else from the QR code?
Yeah, in his quest to maximize the flavor potential of every variety, Sebastian adds to the coffee mosto, obtained from a culture of bacteria from lemongrass trees grown on the farm during fermentation.
Sebastian would be the farmer, not
correct.
Rubens. So there's a little something musto, which is, could you just read back what musto is one more time?
Oh, it has an O. It says mosto.
Mosto. Sorry.
Lemongrass tree byproducts.
Juice.
Okay.
I mean,
it kind of reminds me of like throwing SCOBY in there, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
you guys,
we had a kombucha processed coffee from Felipe Trujillo, and I'm sure it's not a far off idea.
Do you guys taste lemongrass? Because I do. I don't know if that's just straight silliness or now after I've said you're going to taste lemongrass. But
I mean, honestly, I really do.
I was tasting like juniper and lemongrass.
Do you want to know what the notes are?
Wait.
He has 6 on the bag.
You're only supposed to have 3.
I know.
Are they all like floral-ish notes, or is there like chocolatey or like sugary notes? Is it kind of like across the spectrum?
Do you want me to tell you what they are?
I want to guess some of them.
Well, I'm not going to give you any
All right,
hints.
let me guess. Lemongrass.
No.
Starfruit.
Brown sugar.
No. This is boring. I'm bored. Rosemary, strawberry,
Oh, juniper was pretty close.
clove,
Oh, juniper!
hibiscus, which I get hibiscus.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I get that more than lemongrass. I was just getting my
You're
herbal teas mixed up.
You're just pandering to
I'm
me?
just going to go back and forth with
Lime,
whatever you guys say.
lime, and
Oh, yeah, I got that.
And
You say plum?
No,
No, whatever you said, I
What
got
did
it.
you say about plums?
nothing about plums. No one has ever tasted plums. Pomegranate.
Oh,
Yeah.
acidity's not a crime.
Yep.
I mean, let's be clear. This coffee's pretty crazy.
It's
It's
fun.
definitely
It is a fun cup of coffee.
I'm glad that I got a full a full bag of it.
Dude, how much did that coffee cost?
This was $30.
Oh, did you pay for that with your personal money?
No, I saw it in QuickBooks.
No, I paid for it with Valor.
Well, I'm gonna go buy stuff with my Valor card then.
Yeah, well, you get $30 to spend on whatever you want,
Only $30.
but it has to be related to the podcast.
I went to the credit card and set your credit card limit to $30.
Like a parent.
Guys, I want to show you some new frisbees I got.
Hey, if you're listening and want to send us coffee for us to drink on the program,
We'll do it.
you should send us coffee to drink on the program. Just shoot us a message and we will shoot you our address.
Hey, the only rule is we're gonna be honest.
True.
Yeah, it's true.
We're not gonna pander.
We have a
Like
little
Riley
coffee.
pandered to me.
Maybe this section can turn into a little coffee review section.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
If people don't have Instagram, it's the best email.
info@valor.coffee, and our administrative assistant will get back to you.
That's right. And if you listen to the last episode, you would know who that assistant is.
Yeah, linked right up here.
And if you hadn't listened to it, we're not even gonna say it now.
Which is why you should listen to the last episode.
About the administrative assistant.
All right. Hey, let's dive into this book. Without further
Chapter
ado, Ross has
15.
been trying to get into it for
Yeah,
10
guys.
minutes.
Yeah, and he has the book.
Yeah. I think this was my favorite chapter
Dude.
in the whole book.
'Cause it feel good chapter.
I got chill bumps.
Oh my goodness.
Baby.
I did.
Baby, baby, baby.
Listen. Yeah.
We're in the bath.
It was yeah, I was in the bath.
Like, babe,
Were
I
you
got
doing
goosebumps.
were you doing a cold soak
No, it was warm.
or cold plunge,
It was warm.
warm plunge?
Do they have ice tubs at the gym?
I don't
No.
think so.
Wow.
Not yet.
Okay.
Is that what's going to put you over the edge to get a
I would be like,
membership?
well, I guess they'd have to like drain it because you probably just don't get into an ice bath
Like
after
after someone,
someone
else.
else.
That's
Another
really
dude.
gross.
because they definitely peed to warm it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Everyone, I would just like to apologize. We're a little goofy today, but let's get serious. Chapter 15. Why was this your favorite, little guy?
What
What?
did you just say?
I just pulled a you joke.
It was my favorite because there was a lot of things that personally resonated with me. I know that's a very basic thing to say, but that's honestly not true of a lot of chapters. He talked about the recession that happened in 2008 and how it was an unprecedented recession dating back to the Great Depression, or I guess since the Great Depression. And obviously, we didn't go through that recession in our business, but we did go through COVID-19 in the lockdown. And he was talking about overcoming adversity and not wasting adversity. Like he always references his dad as having these great one-liners. And one of them was, it would be a shame to waste adversity, something like that.
Yep. Adversity is a terrible thing to waste. So close.
Yeah, it was close. Maybe if I had the book in front of me, but that is such an opposite perspective. I've sort of tried out a few different ways of handling adversity. You know, I've taken the victim route. I've taken the passive route. I've taken the I'm gonna actively defend myself. You know, but taking the perspective of not wasting the adversity, which suggests that adversity is an opportunity instead of, you know, poor me, something bad is happening to me, I deserve justice. Like adversity is like, what am I personally responsible for in the situation, and how am I going to make it the best possible for myself and all the people around me that I care about and lead and support. And that was, I remember when all the news of COVID was first happening, there was I was experiencing fear because nobody knew what was going on. And after the fear sort of set in and we started to really assess the situation for what it was, we were able to start activating people's creativity and ingenuity around us to seize the moment. of the adversity. And that I think that's why it just resonated so deeply with me is them talking about how, they had this big quest to get 4 stars, right? Mm-hmm. On this, which grading system was that?
I believe it's the New York Times.
New York Times. Okay. So they were in this recession where they're having to cut costs, and they closed half their dining room, and things were looking really bleak. Their P&L was really rough at the end of each month. And that you wouldn't naturally just view that time as like the time to get reviewed for your 4-star, because they started 1, 2, and 3 stars, and they're going for their 4th. And it was in that time though where half their dining room was closed, and they should have been at their like lowest point that they were being reviewed for this big accomplishment. And to see how their team rallied around that and took the adversity and he talked about the Michael Jordan documentary. Mm-hmm. What was it? The Last Dance, or was it?
Absolutely.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
He talked about how Michael Jordan, even when there was nothing pressing against him necessarily, even when he had no adversity in his life, he would almost make up and simulate pressure on his life, which is partly why I go to the gym, to make my life harder on purpose to overcome something. So I resonated with that. And I think in our pursuit to be the top 1% of coffee in the world, which this guy's coffee, at least touts that top 1% of coffee in the world with the top 1% of hospitality and service in the world. No one's forcing us to be that. There's not this there's no review system that we're trying to, there's not reviewers coming to our cafes, anonymous people that are trying to see how our experience is. That's a pursuit that we have personally held ourselves accountable to, and our team has gotten behind. And I think that it can be easy to lose that flame after a little while if you don't I don't even know how to say it, but almost simulate critics and simulate pressure upon yourself to reignite that underdog mentality, or that just drive to reach greater heights. And I've seen that organically in us, but I've never actually thought about it and just kind of put words to it.
How do you think we can do that?
Well, one, this is kind of a funny thing to say.
Michael Jordan way, just start picking fights with people?
Well, this is kind of a funny thing to say publicly, but there's no Michelin stars for coffee shops. But what if there was? And this isn't the first time we've talked about this, but it's the first time we've publicly said it. But I want that. I want to have a Michelin star as a coffee shop. And I think that coffee shops aren't really considered in that because there's just no expectation for it. So if we put that expectation upon ourselves, that at least gets us closer to that. In the book, he talks about how there was this long period of time between the first time the critic came and the second time and the third time the critic came. And so they would plant, I guess it was people on the staff or people they knew in their restaurant as a fake critic.
I think they were just saying they would just pick a person who was dining. Right?
Pick a random person who's dining. Okay.
And just give them the crazy experience.
Yeah, I had that wrong. So they had They had this whole thing scripted out, right? For this random person, pretending this guest was their big critic. So I wonder how we could do that.
Dude, I got to be behind the bar for a little bit Sunday. And I hadn't read the book yet, I promise. But I think about when you just know someone's really going to care about the experience, someone is just a coffee person, or someone is I don't know, just very aware of the place, and they're appreciative and cognizant of every little thing. And I feel like I always take that opportunity to go above and beyond for them. And I just dawned on myself. I was like, man, what if I just did this with everybody, especially the people that weren't like interested in this, so that it would just be that much more of a surprise and treat. And that was the cool effect that he was saying the critic of the night method had, is that one might think, oh, we're just pouring all of our resources into this one person's experience. Like if Matt Perger came into the coffee shop and be like, oh, pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
But it kind of lifted everybody else around them. And he was saying, if you were just like watching two tables and one was deemed like the critic of the night, it would probably be imperceivable which one to the naked eye, you know?
Yep.
But it was just like tiny adjustments. That's kind of how I felt. I wanted to be at Valor. Is like, I don't want to just have all these like optional, we can roll out the red carpet, but like, how do we have like a red carpet experience for everybody? And then also be aware of like people that are really looking for a special experience.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day with coffee, you can just serve someone coffee and it's over.
Right.
You know? And that's probably why there's not Michelin stars, because it's a transactional, singular counter service experience.
Well, it's a different expectation. Like usually Michelin stars, they hand out Michelin stars to really casual places too, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it's nicer places, I would say. And when people go to a restaurant that has 3 Michelin stars, they are expecting a very like ultra high end experience that is complex and unique and inspiring and very hands on and very, you know, like start to finish. It's very coordinated. Whereas a really large percentage of our guests that come into our cafes just want to get in and out with their coffee
As fast as possible.
Yeah. And so for us to serve that person with excellence and empathy, we're going to do that. We're not going to hold them up with a conversation. We're not going to make them late for their appointment. We're going to get them an amazing cup of coffee as quickly as we can to serve them as best as we can. So that's different, right? Like a coffee shop, you've got these different percentages of customers that have different intentions with the experience. But with a restaurant, it's more uniform, like what people want, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting. It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all sort of experience. I think even more so in a coffee shop than a restaurant.
At what point do you just completely split apart the concepts? And then
I know,
even just in one store, like I'm thinking Dunwoody, if the front left corner in 500 square feet there was just a different coffee shop that was called like Valor Go, and the rest of it was called Valor Stay. And then different espressos, different speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, but
Kent had an idea like that back in the day.
more
Remember
drive-through
that?
centered.
Well, it was like it's like literally split into 2 coffee shops. One has an Eversys, one has a mod bar or whatever.
Yeah.
But that'd be fun.
Could be cool. Man, we just need some money.
Hey, if you have money out there and you don't want anything back for it, like equity or money.
I mean, hey, 8%. We'll pay.
Yeah,
We'll give you 8%
we'll give you
back.
8%.
1.08%.
Yeah, 1.08%. Dude, was there anything sticking out in this book for you? I know we have so much we could talk about, but we'll try to stick to the book a little bit. Ross.
My throat just made a weird noise. Yeah, I liked it.
Oh.
I'm gonna be real with you. I was reading this last night and I fell asleep reading it,
Crap.
and then I read the rest of it this morning.
Oh.
How about that? But yeah, I think you guys said everything I'm feeling. I'm not gonna just add something to hear myself talk.
Well, I got something that I really enjoyed. Perspective. You guys remember that part?
I do.
Let me read it for you. This is from Will's daddy again.
Daddy Will.
Will's daddy be dropping dimes. He says the goal then had been to maintain perspective. When you're working as a server, that's the only view of the world you have. And while you may think you'll hang on to that point of view forever, The truth is that once you've been promoted to manager, you'll eventually find your priorities replaced by a new set. As Daddy would say. That was added.
Emphasis added.
Perspective has an expiration date, no matter how hard you try to hold on to it. I mean, he said something like, you always tend to lose your empathy for, like the past position.
Yeah, that part was good.
And that's super real, man. We're just getting further from the boots on the ground, daily interactions. And we talk about in orientation, like how we prioritize our leadership. And we always say that if you grow in leadership, you're growing in support of the people in this company. And we're really prioritizing the experience the guests and the pit crew have with each other and relying on feedback from those interactions to dictate a lot of the decisions we make instead of the executives in the C-suite coming up with good ideas and then sending them down to the pit crew and be like, this is how it works now. This will be better. Because we're starting to lose perspective. I don't know if you feel that, but I worked a little bit this weekend and I was like, oh yeah, this is different. This is a different job. Different things are on my mind. I'm not thinking about the same things I'm thinking about during my week now.
What was different about it?
It's just so in your face. Like you're just there and the people are my perspective. Like how is the space? How is everybody enjoying it? And what do I need to do about this? You know, and what are the immediate demands? You know, so you're not really thinking about things that like are a little bit superfluous. Like I feel like we've been spending a lot of time, you know, talking about how do we fix our pour overs and what do we do about this and this and this. It's like on a Sunday, all day, like people aren't ordering a pour over. They just want like an iced latte. And I'm just like getting ice and making a lot of espresso and like doing a lot of dishes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's interesting. That's like the job shift and the mentality shift is like we're trying to make their work environment the best. And then we're just doing it. So it was cool. I feel like it would be cool to try to like get behind the bar. I feel like we all kind of talk about like once a month or something and just always ground ourselves with the reality of that, like kind of what you were saying. So many people just come in and they want like a quick, easy, not cool drink.
Yeah.
And they just want to get rolling. And it's like, how do we make that as perfect as possible, as well as like going for this, what does it look like for the Valor stay moment? You know, the trays, the different options of coffee you could get, like a coursed out thing, you know?
Yeah.
So it was fun. I feel like it was a realigning of perspective.
Small detail. He mentioned when they carried desserts to the table, the policy was low and slow.
Yeah.
So when you're carrying a dessert, hold it low where where you know you're passing by the tables and you're passing by guests' eye level, and then go slow so that people can watch that dessert go to the table. And he mentioned the dessert cart. Mm-hmm. And I was like, should we use carts to run our drinks?
Ooh.
Like a really, you know, unique, creative, artsy looking cart where you like put it, like it brings attention to the drinks.
Yeah.
And I see that like whenever somebody pours a ripper and, you know, you're running it to the table, people are like, ooh, what's that? And the answer is like, it's a latte. Like it's espresso and milk, but the presentation of it is so good that it piques the interest. Just thought that would be a funny idea to throw around it.
All right, refine it. Train tracks.
Train track.
We got a trolley.
Trolley system.
I loved the idea of like themed events with the Kentucky Derby thing.
Oh yeah.
Just doing more. I mean, it's hard. That's the thing. It's always hard to throw parties and do things. But if every single like universal event, like Kentucky Derby, Super Bowl, World Cup. I'm only thinking of sporting events, but throw out something else. It was just like
World Series.
We did something for all of those. That would be pretty funny. And it's just all a matter of having time to do it. Because, it's with the World Series or like baseball playoffs, if you just had a themed menu like for all of that for 1 week,
Oh, my God.
that'd be sick. And people would love it.
Yeah.
But that would be hard. Maybe if the Braves make it, we'll do something like that.
When the Braves make it.
When the Braves make it.
Yeah. Well, that gets into a little bit post-book, but I mean, it is the title of the chapter about like playing offense and playing defense in business. I feel like I gave that a lot of thought going through this of just like, man, you can almost categorize your decisions in your company. You can delineate between like offense and defense. I'd never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
You guys want to dive into that a little bit? Maybe talk about how that relates to our coffee shop's recession proof?
What would you call defense? Would you call defense just like doing what you can to keep the numbers the same?
Yeah. I think it was like cutting costs, being more efficient. I see it as like a pulling back of sorts. And offense is like a pushing forward for sales, and then defense is for the sake of expenses. And usually to achieve sales, you have to create expenses first to generate sales. And then defense would be limit expenses to save money.
I think defense would also be just putting out fires that happen. Like when you're playing defense, it's against the offense on the other team. So
Yeah.
the offense of the other team could be breaking your dishwasher, or it could be having to fire someone, or it could be, whatever these hard, unforeseen situations are in a business. Whereas offense is more proactive. But the thing that I think of is, like you said, whenever financial adversity or a freaking global pandemic happens, what we did is we had to make a decision on whether or not we were going to close the doors during the lockdown. And I don't think we ever closed, except for when we all got COVID.
Yeah, in October.
But March, April, like I said earlier, it was a time where we had to, look at the chessboard, as it were, and be like, what are our moves?
Yep.
Are we just going to play defense and let this thing happen to us and be a victim of it? Or are we going to seize this moment and come out on top?
Mm-hmm.
But we had to seize the moment and come out on top without spending a lot of money, which that was the kicker. And so we ended up closing the inside of our coffee shop, taking our old cart out of storage, and having a few of our very talented staff members give the cart a facelift. And the cart is in our lobby in our roastery to this day as a memento, an Ebenezer, if you will, to that time, because it was one of my favorite times in Valor, like during the lockdown, actually.
Oh yeah,
because I just honestly, like, I know the whole thing was less than preferable, right? And it was a bad time in a lot of ways, but like we were saying this last week, but just the hardship and adversity end up being your favorite moments.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Just a pause there. Why do you guys think that is?
Power of moments, baby.
What do you mean?
When you look back on your life, like, you can't remember what this is from the book, The Power of Moments,
By
someone. I think they're brothers.
two guys.
Yeah,
Two
two
bros.
brothers. When you look back, you can't remember what you had for breakfast 2 days ago, but you can remember your wedding day and some intricate details. You can remember the death of a grandparent. and so on and so forth. And I think it's the same situation. Like, I can so clearly remember the days leading up to because the rumor was that, do you guys remember when the rumor was the president's going to shut everything down for 2 weeks across the country? Do you guys remember that rumor?
2 weeks to slow the spread.
But it was like the rumor was that
Like even more than what happened.
like they were going to say like Valor Coffee has to close.
You
like-
mean okay?
That was the rumor.
Okay.
That was the very first rumor of it.
Yeah.
And I just remember like the days leading up to that being like so anticipatory. And I think it's just because I remember that so clearly because it was such a big moment in time. And I think that that's a part of the reason why we attach ourselves to and look back fondly is because you remember that more than you remember other moments of your life.
Yeah. I think moments like that also bring us together and we lean on each other more. Mm-hmm. And you just remember what's really important in your business. So that's probably also why. But just to finish the thought on the cart, in case you never went to our cafe, like I said, we closed the inside. We started storing all of our green coffee on the inside of our cafe. Remember this?
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't have anywhere else. We didn't have a roastery at that point. I think we were building out our roastery at like the height or like one of the heights.
Well, we started in August, so we just decided to do it in the midst of it.
In the midst of it.
Knowing good and well.
Yeah.
But it was like we have to do this or stop roasting coffee. At
Right.
that point, pretty much.
But at the cart, like I said, it's in our lobby, but it says Valor to go mobile. And it has all these like, illustrations. I think it says like, we're all in this together. Troy Bolton on one side. I don't remember what the other side says.
The other side says, wow, that's actually pretty good. Our moms or something like that.
Yeah. So I know that it's like silly and it may seem like not a lot, but in that time it was such a heavy. When you walked by people on the street, you could sense heaviness and like just depression, honestly. Mm-hmm. And so that's like the opposite of our brand and who we are. And so to have this like silly, derpy, kind of comical piece of wood out there that we're serving from, which is our cart, it was cool just to like, even if they walk by and see a quote from Troy Bolton from High School Musical, like a little smirk. That was kind of hard to come by back then. Mm-hmm.
In the midst of all that, we also closed, and everyone who still hung out in downtown Alpharetta when we were closed said that the city was depressed.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. When we all got COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we parked it outside the cafe and had a little 10 by 10 tent and just served out there for quite some time. I feel like it was
when we got back after all getting COVID, we were like, well, I guess we can be inside now.
Yeah. We got it all out of our system.
March to October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
through the Georgia summer, baby.
Having to be masked up and everything, like still making those connections with people and not losing the ethos of what it means to go to a Valor coffee shop.
Yeah, and some of that is offense. If you put in perspective of just like it's still low cost, but it's making decisions for the betterment of the company and like to be available for people. Yeah.
That was probably around the same time that everybody started writing on the lids.
Oh yeah, little messages.
That's part of our cafe, especially in the Alpharetta Cafe. Like, a personal note on the lid, based off of what you talked about in the transaction. Just it's the sum of all those parts that make up a truly special moment, even if it is at a coffee shop. So when you're talking about our coffee shop's recession proof, and we could expand that topic a little bit by saying, are they adversity proof? Maybe just ways to overcome adversity. I think maintaining your brand potency in the midst of pressure is the thing mostly. Do you guys remember anything else on that side of things? Like what was going through your head? Maybe like as it relates to the staff.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about something else really quick, but I think what kept us together was we could have folded and had a poor me attitude and a victim mentality in this situation. But the only reason we pressed forward and came up with these ideas and all of these other things is because we had a desire and willingness to, one, keep our business going so we could still pay people and like pay ourselves and not have severe debt and walk away from a business.
Yeah.
And also to like be a light to the people, like what you were saying.
Yeah.
And we really pressed in to that and thought of ourselves and held our view of genuinely uplifting people even more.
It was also inspiring to see different restaurants in the city respond. I remember Staple House. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but did they go to that grocery model during COVID?
I can't remember.
Let's just say yes.
Well, one of the nicer restaurants in Atlanta, a lot of buzz and press around it, that you've been to, Riley, but we haven't, right?
Yeah, I've been to the market, but
Well, we've been to the market.
we've been to the market.
Going to a market model where you're selling meats, canned things, sandwiches, dry
Natural
goods, wines, just really like transforming your business model. Oh, another one. Our partners in business, Maven Restaurant Group, which is a restaurant group here in Alpharetta that we get our pastries from. They also have a couple of restaurants in town. One of their restaurants, Le Pier, which at the time was like a high-end seafood place. It was like mezcal and seafood, which nobody wanted, during the height of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And they started it was relatively short-lived, but it was very inspiring to me. They started a ghost kitchen, meaning it was a Chinese takeout model through a seafood kitchen, high-end seafood kitchen. Mm-hmm. And they made this whole, I forget, do you guys remember the name?
I don't.
Mouse.
Mao. This whole brand around this, they made it seem like it was it was there since like 1972, and it was in like Chicago or something, and I think they did takeout and pick up and like Uber Eats delivery only. But that stuff inspired me too. It's like, man, there's people that have no other choice but to make something creative happen and overcome adversity.
Yeah. Yeah. When it relates to the staff, I mean, we really had only had employees for like 6 to 8 months at this point.
Yeah.
So we're very fresh into employership. And man, there's a lot of fear, a lot of like worry can mount up pretty fast when you're like, we were paying these people's bills.
Yeah.
People have families, they have lives. And when it came to our own uncertainty as a business, let alone a ripple effect of our employees, I think we tried to make the decision pretty quickly of like, all right, they're in this with us too. And it's daunting when you hear other businesses quickly pivot and be like, yeah, we just let go of our whole staff. It's like,
Yeah.
Dope. And then it's also like, we let go of our whole staff so that they could get on unemployment. And it's like, is that the option? Do we just like do that and then bring them back? What do we do? But we decided to sell coffee for a year to kind of up our cash flow, if you will, to get some money in the door right away. And so we sold like 25 coffees for a year. And I think a lot of our decision making was like, how do we continue this business to not only retain ourselves, but our employees?
That was kind of defense. Coffee for a year, in a way. Offense and defense.
Offense and defense. Yeah, I think like it was an idea that brought in money, offense, and then like a lot of like maybe like bring the coffee, all the coffee, green coffee to the cafes, like defense. We're like maximizing our inside of the cafe and making it like a storage unit so we don't have to pay for more stuff.
Hey, PPP helps too.
PPP.
Yeah, dude, PPP.
What is that? Oh, yeah. Yes, the PPP.
Some government subsidy.
Yeah.
Is that what you say? That was nice.
Yeah, team effort.
Team effort.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a crazy time, but I think I'm trying to think of other like little decisions we made to just stay. And so it was like that brand potency is huge. I think just trying to be that beacon of hope that you were kind of talking about in the city and like doing it in whatever culturally was the safest way. So that was like going outside. Because I mean, even amidst that like pretty dark season where a lot of people were very scared and unhappy, people were just looking for like some semblance of light and hope. And I think even in the book, he kind of talks about, he was talking about the 2008 housing crisis and how Shake Shack began to skyrocket. And he said people flocked to affordable experiences that felt a little special. And you really felt that because, especially in that season, people weren't even like getting out of their cars. So they would like, and that's when we got like a mobile ordering app for that time that we were outside. And it was like people would just be at home. They'd drive to Valor. They'd like wait in their cars and just hang out.
Yeah.
And they'd drive back home. So that's their thing that they did that day. So we were like this affordable, $6-8 luxury, but it's like you got a cool note on your cup. Someone told you that you're awesome and we hope you have a good day. Goes a long way.
Yeah.
Goes a very long way.
Affordable luxury is a good way to put it. And that's why I don't feel, there's talks of inflation and recession all the time right now. And maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm not, but I am not extremely worried about it because we don't sell a super expensive product. So especially in a time where people are having to cut out the expensive products in their life, to be able to come to us and get a luxury item for minimum $2.76 after tax or whatever. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool that we have the opportunity to do that. But another thing we don't do really, and I feel like this is just because of time constraints, like he's talking about really going over their P&L and thinking about all these places that cut costs. And I'm like, when's the last time we did that?
I had the same thought, like doing a whole audit of just, even if we go on the other side and don't change a single thing, it would just be beneficial to look at everything that we're doing. Where can we...
And we do, and we have,
Yeah.
to be clear. I think around this time, like a year ago, we were really looking at that detailed cost spreadsheet a good bit. But I think that's something that is going to be fortunately afforded to me in my schedule now that I've handed off bookkeeping. Like my Mondays, I have a time slot now for like deeper financial analysis instead of just categorizing transactions, which isn't super helpful in the grand scheme of things compared to actually taking a look at our costs and thinking about trajectory.
Sounds like you got a new role, defensive coordinator.
Yes.
You're DC Riley. You guys got any other thoughts on this stuff? I mean, obviously it's bringing back a lot of emotion. It was a tough season, but it was a beautiful, awesome time.
Yeah, I would say I had a great time. I mean, part of it also was that I had my first child in December of 2019. So there was a lot of joy there. But just the way that our staff came together and we were able to bring something valuable to our community was amazing. And also our e-commerce popped off. That was cool. While we were roasting in another coffee shop's roastery. And I think that gave us some wind in our sails to open this building that we're sitting in right now.
Yeah, great momentum.
And I forgot who wrote this article, but they wrote about us opening this roastery, and I think they said like Valor Coffee bravely opens
Daily coffee news.
Maybe you could pull it up to get the exact wording, but maybe, it's a suggestion. They said that, and then also when we opened Dunwoody, somebody was like, Valor Coffee bravely goes to the suburbs or something like that.
They really like to tag that along with Valor.
Yeah, and I'm like,
it's kind of annoying, but it's fine.
Dude, I don't feel brave. Like our people are so awesome and our product is so awesome. We will not fail.
Valor Coffee boldly opens new roastery in HQ north of Atlanta.
Yeah, and that was, in somewhat of the height of this pandemic. And I don't know, man. I mean, what did you guys think about that? Like, you're opening this roastery. There's a lot of assets in here. It is a risk. How did you make peace with that in the midst of a time that we were in? Are you just like, oh, screw it? Or like...
I think I was something like that. Again, it was like, and hearkening back to what we said earlier, defense might have been, let's just stop roasting.
Go skinny.
Like, we're really not making that much money on wholesale, and let's start buying insert roaster.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad we didn't, obviously. But I go back to worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, the company goes under. It really, really sucks, and we all carry some debt away from it or file for bankruptcy. Our life's not over.
It's not the worst life-wrecking thing
like,
ever.
I'm never going to be homeless,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of it, one of the narratives during that time was like, this is the new normal. Remember that? Like this is an endemic. Was that the word? Am I using that word right?
That is the word that people said, but I don't know if you're using it right.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess what I interpreted that to mean is like, this is how it's going to be from now on. Because people were asking like, when are we going to get back to normal? When are we going to get back to normal? And I think one of the narratives was like, this is the new normal. Mm-hmm. And I think I was like, I don't believe you. And so like, let's open a roastery and keep going and doing what like we feel called to do and what we're good at. And that's what's happened. Like that, I feel blessed that we're in that situation. And I think I just believed in our product and our people. And that's why it's like, yeah, let's stick to the plan. And the plan was to have a few coffee shops and a successful roastery. That's been the plan. We've talked about it a lot over the years, but like, we're not going to let this thing get us off that track. And I think we've reaped the benefits of sticking to our vision.
Dude, Valor stands for steadfastness in the face of adversity.
Yeah.
So we're just doing that. But, it's like a sober decision, too. I don't think there's recklessness attached.
Yeah.
Like, because I could see some people being upset about, like, how could you stay open? People are dying of COVID. Mm-hmm. I'm like, yes. I'm like, I understand that a lot of people that we're serving know people or have experienced people that have, like, died from this thing.
Yeah.
And heck, we're pretty close to a hospital. A lot of people like going to a hospital related to this. It's like, we are going to do this as like safely as possible, but this is, yes, it's a luxury, but for some people, this is like their lifeline. Kind of what I was saying about like people being able to have this communal aspect to their life.
Yeah.
Like a life is not too worth living on how some people had to like operate for that season. So that, and we've heard it, I've heard it multiple times of like that trip out to Valor just to have someone be kind to you. I mean, that's like what's getting them through it. You know, this isn't like a money grab. It's not like we try to like take advantage of a season, but it's like, no, we feel very called to continue our mission of uplifting people through coffee amidst crisis, because that's when people need this the most. So I don't feel like it's like screw it, we're just going to do our own thing and it doesn't matter you can't get in our way.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're aware of the costs and the consequences. And we face plenty of them. It's hard, but like doing it together with conviction, definitely wouldn't have it be any other way.
Yep. It was a sweet time.
So is this.
Yeah. Lord knows what we're going to be going through. You know, it's been 7 years and like 2 of it was pretty pandemic oriented.
Yeah.
We have a potential recession on the horizon.
Yeah.
But we're, I think, going to be staying steadfast to our mission, you know?
And you, our listeners, will be able to follow along the whole way.
Yes.
Once a week.
While you like, comment, subscribe,
Amidst your subscribing.
share with your friends, and review on your podcast platform of choice.
That's
yeah.
right.
All right. Well, what do we have to do? Orientation or something?
That's right.
Yeah, we're doing orientation.
All right. Let's go do orientation. Thanks for listening. Love you.
Love you.
Peace.